We're live. What's up, everybody? I'm going to talk about social circles. Again, this is part two because we got a little cerebral in part one. So, if you're looking for that quick, what are the 5 steps to getting the girl that is in my friend circle video so you can go out there and fail? You're probably in the wrong spot. Okay. If you like quick tips on the internet so you can sort of feel like you're doing something and then actually, still get rejected by women. I mean, there's other channels for that. All right. But I'm going to help you get a better understanding of what's going on in social circles, in your intersexual dynamics, communications with women, all that stuff. We're going to get a deeper and better understanding of these things. Not just so you can understand it academically and overthink, but so you can apply it to your situation in your life. Most, as I said in the part one, I should put we did it last week. I'll put a link in the description. But I mean, if you're just catching this live now, you can watch part one by just simply going to the channel and clicking on the video that's the most recent besides this one, I think, or one of the most recent live video. But yeah, we got into a lot of different stuff last week. And as I mentioned, social circles are the most common ways that relationships starts. Okay. So relationships statistically, despite the dating apps, everyone likes to talk about dating apps because by putting things into a digital format, it makes it easier to talk about the data because now we have data versus subjective reports. All right. And so that tends to be what a lot of people like to talk about, including like text game. That's an easier thing to break down versus some complicated communication going on through a series of communications. And let's say it's someone's dating scenario, right? So in any sense, despite the focus with dating coaches and stuff with things like the cold approaching or the Tinder or Hinge or whatever, getting on the internet and having those internet exchanges, the reality is relationships are starting more often than not on a statistical level through the social circle. All right. So it's still most are there in workplace is a big one, even though, we tend to advise not to try to meet up with women at work or whatever, because you compromise your job and all the potential negative consequences. People still do it. People work together. People generally spend more time at work during the week than they do at home. They're more present at work than they are at home. And then the people that they're working with tend to be people that, you know, in that social dynamic, it tends to be the people you end up having sex with or hooking up with. Certain professions or industries, and I'll let you guys write in the comments which one you think, okay, is going to be the professions that you more likely people hook up than, let's say, other professions. But certain industries, people hook up constantly in those industries at work, or not necessarily at the workplace, but through work circles. And other ones not so much. But I'll let you guys throw it in the comments or in the chat which ones you think those are. But workplace is a big social circle where people tend to meet up. Friends groups, you know, meeting at a party, meeting at, the same, let's say bar, tavern, or coffee place where there's regulars that go there, different extracurricular activities or clubs or whatever. But I mean, friends groups, really. Hey, I got this friend, your guy friend's wife, has a girlfriend who just became single, and then they all come out one night and they introduce you and you hit it off or don't hit it off, whatever. But anyways, these are the ways that people tend to meet up in relationships and how relationships tend to develop more often than not. Not to say that it couldn't develop in other ways. I certainly recommend, actually, for your own success as a man, that you step outside of your social circles and you meet women in places where you've never, they're not a warm lead at all. That means a cold approach of some sort. And getting on dating apps can be fine too, whichever way, or using even social media. But as a guy, you're going to have a lot more variety and opportunity for success there. Um, but we talked about a number of things, and I think we got the point we made in the last one was that the reason you're failing or getting rejected by that girl that you like in your social circle is because in each social circle, and I won't get too in the weeds of this because I did it last video, but in each social circle, there is a sexual hierarchy. It's not objective. It's just as it's perceived. Okay. There may be some objective data to support the opinion. All right. But um, that doesn't mean it's still an opinion, and it's still broken down by the subjective way that people perceive you in that social circle. And in that social circle, you're not at the top of the sexual hierarchy. The women are only going to want to hook up with the guys in their friends groups that are perceived at the top of the hierarchy. Okay. Most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. And the guys that are seen as unmateable or not as cute or not as whatever, they're not the ones that are going to get hooked up with. Okay. And that is probably you if you're not having success there. So that's the reason. Okay. And they see you as a non-mateable option. In other words, you're in the friend zone, right? They don't see you as a mateable person that they'd want to mate with. And so those are the two main reasons we covered in the last video. And the answer to that, of course, is to step outside of your social circle. But I wanted to mention something important about the friend zone. And some of you guys may have seen my short I just put out on Instagram and a short video here about the friend zone. I was pretty harsh on you friend zone guys. All right. So I want to break that down a minute because it's important as it applies here. But we'll do quick word from the sponsors, and we'll make some important points about the friend zone that you're probably in if you're in this circumstance. So I'll be back in a minute and a half.
Let's face it, if you're a man, then you are probably dealing with problems and challenges with women. Now, I've got some good news and some bad news for you. Your success with women literally boils down to one thing. The bad news is, if you don't have it, nothing else will work. All of the money, good looks, and all of the best pickup and game skills out there will fail without you mastering this one thing. And that one thing is frame. The answers to ending your pain and suffering and to start living an amazing life with women is just one click away. Click the link and let's get started. Are you tired of your face being weak and beta and everyone always wanting to punch it? Well, there's not much I can do about that, but maybe Chad's face scrub can help. It has been crafted for men with all natural ingredients and without the nasty testosterone disrupting chemicals that will eventually turn you into a little man girl. So, whether you need to take a punch or steal someone's girlfriend, or just stay fresh as you go through the rigors of daily life as a man, Chad's is your brand. Order from my link in the video description to help support the channel.
All right. Kind of want to throw my fucking computer through the window. Because Ernesto's like, I set the notification to midnight last night. That's how I feel about that. Right. I fucking can't work anything on a goddamn computer. I swear to God. I don't understand why the fuck they would even do that on StreamYard. Like this has happened a number of times where I go to do the notification for the right time, and then it's for PM, or 3 a.m. or some bullshit. Anyway, it's just fucking stupid. So I guess I'll have fucking 5 people on my show right now. That's fine. Us 5 will talk about it. Fuck them. I don't need people to get the information. That's fine with me. All right. So anyway, when a fucking we'll just have a pissed off break. I'll say the F word enough times too, so that the algorithms won't do my shit. Whatever, dude. So well, no, dude, it's not even just the AM PM thing. It's the way that StreamYard sets it up, and it's completely user not friendly. We'll put it like that. Okay. It's like I click the thing and it should be I don't know why. It's not even it doesn't need to be confusing. It just doesn't click the way that I want for whatever reason. It's something I have to pay now extra attention to for whatever reason. So whatever, dude. All right. Fucking yes, it is on the shit happens. Well, this show is fucking shot then, so I'm just gonna swear on it. I don't care anymore. But we're still gonna go. The show must go on. We'll talk about the important things um, about it. So I don't know. Maybe someone will watch it someday. You guys are here, right? So you know, I don't know how many are here. I'll 50 of you or something will get it. Okay, so Jesus Christ. Anyway, so there's the social hierarchy, yeah. They see, and I talked about this in the last thing. It's like high school. You know, they see people, certain people are seen as the guys that they want to bang or whatever. And so, but I want to mention something about friend zone before I was interrupted by the fact that nothing wants to work appropriately for me when I press these buttons on the keyboards. Friend zone, dude. So like I did a video on that, a little short one, and I was pretty harsh on it because a lot of guys in the friend zone, they get mad, and this is what happens. A lot of you guys that might be listening that do find the video somewhere. Um you guys might be that person who's kind of like going for that girl, like you really got a crush on a girl in your friend circle, but she doesn't, you know, you guys aren't dating. You can't seem to cross it over into a sexual framework, right? And so, um, it's so you're basically in the friend zone, all right? And so a lot of guys who get hard in that friend zone, especially if they get into simping hard for that girl, they get in this mental framework where they think that they're the good guy and that they're the nice guy. That's the story that they tell themselves. I'm the good guy. And why does she always go for these chads or these a-holes or these losers, right? And the reality is you're not the good guy if you're in the friend zone, most likely. Okay. Because in the friend zone, what that implies is what the friend zone is. It's not being friends. Okay. What the friend zone is that you have a sexual interest and she doesn't have a sexual interest, at least not at that time. And so you're continuing a friendship with her for the hopes of her getting a sexual interest at some point with you. So that's not a true friendship, is it? It's not a friendship at all. It's actually fake. Okay. And so, good comments, right? It is fake. Correct. It's not real. And it starts with you as the guy. You know, we can say that the woman is this selfish person. And do you know what I mean? Like she's just using the guy. And that stuff might be true. But I'll talk about that in a minute too. Let's talk about you as the guy first. I mean, like I said concisely in that video, it's like my shorter video I did on this, the short. It's like you're a fraud. You're being dishonest because you're accepting a friendship and letting this person think that this is a friendship, that you care about this person for the friendship. But the reality is you're only in that friendship because you want to get her vagina, right? And if getting her vagina isn't an option for you and you know that 100%, you're not going to be friends with her. You're just not. And guys are going to mental gymnastics their way around this and tell me that it's not true and tell me this and tell me that. And that's only they're only saying those things because they're drug addicts. That drug being a form of oxytocin, really vasopressin for a guy. The guy who's trapped in that and wants to argue till he's blue in the face that Let's grab my hat. See, that's why I'm there. I'm less thrown off now. Now I'm good mentally because it says, my hat says cool positive messages on it, right? Anyway, but yeah, it's like you guys want to use mental gymnastics to explain how it's not really like that. They really genuinely care about her, and it's just whatever. It's all bullshit, though, right? It's bullshit because that's just their neurochemicals that they've associated that vasopressin and those neurochemicals that causes a man to bond with a woman. They've associated her as the source of that vasopressin oxytocin mix. Do you know what I mean? It's purely neurochemical, and neurochemical reactions have to do with your associations. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if I associate, you know, a woman that I'm with that has, you know, emotions towards me and that treats me the way that I want, and we're in a sexual relationship and I'm getting all the things that I want, if I associate her with that neurochemical connection and those love feelings, then that's healthy. That's purely me making that association with her. Guys who are dysfunctional in their attachments to women, and that's a lot of you, you're going to make a neural association with someone who has none of that interest in you, you see, and you're going to confuse, almost intentionally, signals of her just trying to be a nice person towards you or kind as being an invite or to your sexual interest, or as being, some underlying sexual interest that you would like to project that she has on you. And it's all bullshit. It's all not true. It's your dysfunctional attachments to women. All right. And you're dysfunctionally attaching yourself to a woman that has no return of sexual interest to you. And so this is really a message to guys who would consider themselves in the friend zone, who are simping hard for a girl in their social circle. She doesn't see you as that guy. She's put you in a different category. And the irony of it is, you want to get seen as an attractive option. The irony of it is to stop trying to get that girl into seeing you as an attractive option, as one of the things. Okay, because women are genetically designed to be able to separate men into categories, and most men are in a non-mateable category, which is now you. If you're in that social circle and she has no interest in you, you are in a non-mateable category. Okay, and so that is where she's placed you. It's not objective, that's just where you're at. So what you have to do is not continue to try to prove your sexual market value to that particular girl. All right, because a guy with high sexual market value doesn't have to prove that value to the girl. But anyway, like I said, this can get real cerebral. But the point is that if you're in this friend zone, what that means is you're not comfortable or okay with the friendship the way that it is, that you want something more out of it that she is not wanting out of it. So it is a covert contract. And this is like the no more Mr. Nice Guy thing. What's interesting about that is, okay, what's interesting about that is you're not a nice guy. If it's a covert contract, you're not a nice guy. Okay. If you're a friend with someone, but it's a fraudulent friendship, and you're only friends in as far as you can have an opportunity to get into her vagina. And of course, the nice guy is going to sit here and justify in his head like that it's not just about getting into her vagina, it's about having a good relationship, taking care of her. And I know I'm so good for her because, she somehow doesn't have agency and can't, make decisions on her own. So I am here to be there for her, and this and that and the other. All of the mental gymnastics you guys that guys in this position will make to justify their own bullshit. And it's literally just a neurochemical reaction because of your unhealthy attachments to these things. And those dudes are definitely cock blockers, or at least they try to be. Right? Which gets into my next thing. Not only are you, if you're that, you're not the good guy because you're fraudulent and you're dishonest about this friendship that you have with this person. You're also being kind of a loser. Yeah. Because it's like the definition of loser here. If I'm sitting here putting all of my sexual energy into a losing proposition, that makes me a loser. You see what I'm saying? Like, if I'm like, I'm going to go into this pyramid scheme and I'm going to take all of my money out of my bank account and invest it into some scam business and and I know it's a scam and I know it's going to lose and I know I'm going to lose all my money, but let me do this anyway. I'm a loser. Okay. I'm being a loser, right? I'm not making good financial entrepreneurial decisions by taking all my money and investing it into a literal black hole, right? As we have in the comments, it's exactly right. So if you're investing your sexual energy into some girl in your friend circle that doesn't see you as an option, you're a loser. All right. And she's not going to, and here's the thing, she doesn't want to fuck a loser, right? Girls don't want to fuck losers, man. They do it all the time. Usually they convince themselves that the guy's not a loser somehow, and they in their own mental gymnastics. But when it becomes apparent that a guy's a loser, you know what I mean? They generally don't want to continue having sex with that guy. And that includes you. You're signaling you're a loser by putting at least in terms of your ability to get women and to mate, you're signaling that you're a loser by putting your energy into a woman that has no interest in you. Like, that's made it clear that she's not interested in you in that framework. It's not even open, right? And so to continue to do that over and over again makes you a loser. So no, now you're unattractive in so many ways when you're in the friend zone because you're not a nice guy. You're in a fraudulent friendship that's dishonest. And if she naively accepts your friendship, she's going to be more than disappointed. Do you know what I mean? When she finds out that it was only there just because, I mean, girls will use a lot of cognitive dissonance here so they can interact with guys, because most guys, they're in some sort of fraudulent friendship with the women in their lives, which is unfortunate. You know what I mean? That makes most guys kind of assholes when it comes to women, kind of selfish, right? Kind of like, and so when women talk negatively about men and be in a lot of, it's like, I know that they're only seeing a certain side of it, right? They're not necessarily right when they talk negatively about men, but it's kind of understandable, isn't it? If every guy in their friend circle is just trying to get in their vagina and they're trying to do it in covert ways, is not even upfront, right? And when she makes it clear I'm not interested in that, then they reluctantly accept a friendship, but it's really a covert contract where they keep trying to get into her vagina. It's just relentless. Do you know what I mean? Like, guys need to take that relentlessness and go make some money with it instead of taking that, being so relentless with girls that aren't interested in you. And that's a lot of you guys do, man. You relentlessly go after girls that have no interest in you, which also makes it makes you disrespectful to her in a way, right? And in a way, like, it makes you, so term isn't so much narcissist, but it's like, it makes you delusional. As I said in that video, it's delusional, self-centered behavior. I don't want to say narcissistic because it's not like you're a narcissist. I mean, some people are, but that's not necessarily it. So I don't want to confuse the two things, but it's just self-centered and delusional. She's like, I'm not interested in you, right? Or I don't like you like that. I like you as a friend. And you keep going as if that's not the case and that's not true. And you keep, you see what I mean? It's like That's a very self-centered way of doing it. You're not respecting her, respecting her position. So, but here, who here's these guys who say that they're nice guys. Oh, I'm the good guy. How come she doesn't pick me? You're not a good guy. You're self-centered. She's telling you her needs and wants emotionally, and that they don't involve you. Okay, and you're not listening, which makes you so no, so not only are you a deceptive fraud in your friendship, but you're self-centered as well. You're not caring about her needs really. You're just caring about her needs in as much as they will help you to get in her vagina, right? And then you're of course relentlessly going after someone who has no sexual interest in you, which makes you a loser. And in some ways, you're a bit dangerous in a way, because if you're so delusional, like, women know the danger inherently, whether they want to admit it or not. They know the danger of these covert contracts from guys with no emotional self control, or we'll say at least unhealthy emotional patterns. So here you are displaying an unhealthy emotional pattern by having all of these feelings for someone who doesn't like you like that. That's an unhealthy emotional pattern, an unhealthy attachment. And then she's telling you they don't like you and you're not accepting it, which makes you delusional. So, a delusional person with unhealthy emotional patterns that's also physically stronger than you, that also has a default mechanism of violence and anger to solve problems, which as men, we have that default mechanism, all of us. That makes us inherently dangerous now. So, you're sending all of these negative signals to this chick who's trying to be your friend, and you think that you're the good guy. You're not the fucking good guy. Not even close to being the good guy. She's better off with a stranger than being out around you. You know what I mean? You think because of your emotions of attachment that you're not going to harm her. But let's be real here. Most guys in this position, as soon as she gets into a relationship with a guy that she's happy with, that's good for her. And that's especially if that guy is higher SMV than you are, if you're the guy in the friend zone. Do you think these guys turn into the supportive friend? 9 out of 10 times they do not. 9 out of 10 times they sit here and they, try to sabotage that relationship, right? They disrespect the relationship she's in. They try to sabotage it. Sometimes these guys get angry at the girl. I bought you all this stuff. Why don't you touch my penis? Right? I spent all this time in your DMs. Why don't you touch my pee? It's like these covert contracts become dangerous to the girl. You know what I mean? And if the guy has a propensity or an angle towards violence, now you run into sexual assault situations. Now you run. I mean, do you understand? Like in certain extreme cases, but it really does happen more often than we want to recognize. That friend zone situation turns really, really bad. Obsessive behavior from the guys. I mean, there's situations girls like they don't want to let them know their address necessarily or whatever, or if they go someplace else or where they're at because they're afraid that the obsessive friend zone guy is going to show up there, stuff like that. So some of these things can be really out of control, which hopefully most of you guys listening are not that person. But if you are, you need to understand that the girl isn't the problem, because then then the blame shifts. Like the guys get in the friend zone, shift all the blame on the woman. Well, she just wants to have sex with assholes, and she doesn't want to, she doesn't want good guys because I'm a good guy and I'd be good for her, but she doesn't want me. And now I'm mad about it, right? It's like now she's this, she's that. And then they resent women, they resent the girl. You should resent, don't resent the girl for being a girl, man. You are not seeing the level of unattractive behaviors that you are presenting to this girl. Even if you are a stud, even if you're like a Chad, okay? A lot of gym guys are the worst offenders because their social skills suck, and that's why they go to the gym. I'm not saying all guys who go to the gym have bad social skills. It's not true, of course, but there's guys that go to the gym because they have bad social skills, and it's a way to increase their value. A lot of those guys are the worst offenders. Do you know what I mean? And can, send all of these negative attraction signals to a woman, and they end up, you know, women end up just not being attracted to these guys, friend zoning them, and then the guys don't know why, they blame the girls. So, anyways, that's my spiel on friend zone. If you're in it, you're not the good guy. Don't resent the chick because your boundaries suck. You know, if you were deceived or lied to or used or something, that maybe the girl is manipulative, and maybe then you don't spend time with her. But understand that if you've been harmed by a woman, it's because you allowed it to happen, more or less. Okay. Most of the time, there's something you missed. And the friend zone thing is certainly one of those big things. So don't ever be in the friend zone with a woman. All right. You're either friends with her because you're okay with the platonic relationship and you don't want a sexual framework. Or if you do want a sexual framework and she's in your friend's circle, she remains an acquaintance. And if she's not interested, then you shift your attention and energy elsewhere. Don't be buying her things, doing things for her, trying to listen to her problems, trying to be this friend to her in hopes that she can safely select you as a mating choice. Now, what is confusing is a lot of women used to say a lot more than they do now. I think that we've evolved more or less socially, but there are still some women that'll say this. They'll say, well, if I want to be friends first with a guy. That's actually bullshit, and it's not true. That's what they think, but it's not actually true. That's a lack of self-awareness on the girl's part for what attracts her to a dude. All right. Sure, she wants to like the guy, but after a point, but liking him and having that, friendship is not the same as being attracted. All right. So when she says she wants to be friends first, what she's trying to say is she wants to, the guy that's the hot dude that she finds herself attracted to, she wants to like make sure she's comfortable enough in her ability to not get hurt by that guy in order to sleep with him. That's all it means. It means that she has an intent. She wants a guy that creates such an intense attraction for her that she needs to be sort of comforted into the bedroom. Okay. Through getting along with a guy and having similar interests or enjoying each other's company, whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's what she means. That's what it's a lack of self awareness, because if you challenge that same girl that says that, do you know what I mean? You guys are saying, yeah, I hear the friend zone thing. I want the friend first thing. It's bullshit. And guys who don't understand women will be like, oh, okay. And then they fall into this framework of being a bad guy, which is basically friendship frauding, trying to friendship his way into her pussy. And it's just it's a bad choice. Okay. And so, yeah, dudes will get heartbroken when they find out their crush has been one nighted. Absolutely. Of course, because attraction and friendship are not the same. Being able to get along with the guy and like the guy gives her enough comfort to be able to be sexually open. Remember, when a woman opens herself sexually to a man, she is putting herself to some degree into danger. So women are always balancing the need to protect themselves and to protect their womb. Okay, that's a protect the womb. That's on the limbic side of their brain, what they're looking at. All right. They balance the need of self-protection with the desire to be sexually open. And so saying that is just expressing her need to feel protected in this relationship before she becomes sexually open with the guy. But that literally can happen in one night. She could get along with that guy that evening. All the emotions could be there and she sleeps with the guy. And that's fine. Okay. It's not a criticism on the woman. It just means that you can't take what women who lack self-awareness tell you as the prescription for what you need to do to get them to like you. All right. Because then you find yourself in this situation where you're not a good guy. That's how I'm going to describe you guys in the friend zone from now on, just so that you get a kick in the balls and stop doing that. I'm going to describe you as not being the good guy. For a guy in the friend zone who allows for that dynamic, that is usually sees himself as the better guy, as the good guy. And then that the other guys are the bad guys. I'll tell you right now, I got a girl right now, right? That had a lot of guys simping for her. A lot of guys simping for her. A lot of guys in the friend zone. Okay. The indignation and anger and frustration from these guys when she got a guy that, when she got me, and she would post things on her social media, into her DMs and into her stuff, was out of control. All guys who claim to care about her, but if she's claiming to be happy, these guys they're not happy for her at all. You know what I mean? They're just mad that it's not them. And it becomes very obvious that there isn't a friendship there at all. All it is a guy who's trying to get into her vagina. He's no different than the jerks that he says he's different than. I'm not like those other guys. You're worse. The other guy is a guy who's straightforward and is just like, hey, I really just want to smash, let's do it. That guy is at least honest. That's why he gets laid more than you. Okay. Because he's honest about it. You are friendship frauding and having in a fraudulent situation. So you're not a good guy. But anyways, women say certain things that would make you think that that's the prescription to getting them, but they're wrong. So you can't listen to that. Can't listen to what a person who is not aware, has lacked self-awareness of what attracts them to people, tell you, okay? Because they're just going to be wrong, and you're going to find yourself in these traps, these friend zone traps. You don't need to be there. So let's go into now a couple other reasons why women do reject you in social circles. Before that though, I got super chats. Let me see. In comments. If you guys got questions, of course, ask. I know there's okay. What do we got going on here? All right, so David's been sending me emails. I just haven't gotten. Sorry, bro. It's busy. How do you pick up girls in a situation where you've done nothing wrong, but someone told all the girls to be lessery? I don't know what that means. Lessery of you. Is there a way to pick up girls in the midst of their misplaced fear? You got to explain what you mean. I don't know what that means. All right. Can you take my question whenever? Just don't forget. Yeah. I'm trying to do. All right. So, David, you got to explain what you mean by that. So, someone told all of the girls to be, I don't know what lessery means. Okay. So, I think you typoed something. You got to explain what you mean. So they have a bad impression of you. Is that what you mean? I'm actually going to get into that. If that's what you're trying to say, so let me rephrase. If you're saying like you're in a social circle and the girls have a bad impression of you as being an unmateable guy, what do you do about that? This is the video for you then. We're going to get into that if that's what your question is. Leery. Okay, thank you. Yeah, leery. All right. So yeah, they're leery of you. In other words, now, why are they leery of you? That's the question. So I have to ask, so why is it that they don't, that they're not interested in you? What's the reason? Because being leery of you is not, let me get rid of the spam guy here. Block that one. Okay. So being leery of you is not necessarily like a bad thing when it comes to attraction. Okay. So what do we mean by leery? Leery in terms they don't trust you, that's a bad thing. All right. They sense you as a fraud friend. Yeah, that could be it. Right. So this is why I'm mentioning that, his they met in the bathroom. They had their meeting in the bathroom and they decided that you weren't the one. He's screwed over by the woman counsel. That can happen though. That actually can happen. But understand what is she leery about? Because, there's traits that are bad traits that are still very sexually marketable traits. Being an asshole, being a narcissist, being a jerk, that's not actually a trait that makes you sexually unmarketable. Okay. To believe it or not, I'm not saying it's a good trait to actually have that, but it's just when girls say that about you, let's say she says he's a jerk or he's an asshole or he's this and that and the other. When girls say that about you, that signals to women that maybe that they should mate with you. Because the reason why is because why is this girl saying that about this person? She was obviously harmed in some way or someone else was harmed in some way by him. But what way would that have been harmed? That means that he was sexually selected and he didn't select them or continue to select them, right? Or she couldn't keep him, which means, so in other words, like it's not the same as saying he's bad in the bedroom, or he smells weird, or he has bad hygiene, or I heard he has an STI, right? That would be bad. I mean, even the STI, or I heard that, he's whatever. Let's say he's bad in the bedroom, right? Or he's got a small dong, because that's how they describe good or bad in the bedroom, is this size, even though it's not true, right? And so, like, let's say they say that would be bad for you, okay, but probably, but it's like, yeah, he's a psycho, he's crazy. Okay, what do you mean by that? Well, he stalked my social media and he showed up at my work. Okay, that would be bad. That's needy and beta and dangerous in a bad way, not in a good way. You see what I mean? Like it's like, so it all depends on what's being said. There's a lot of things that aren't good or that are still sexually marketable. All right. Um, when a girl says a guy is a narcissist, all the other girls around know that he's probably not a narcissist, that's probably because couldn't keep that guy, or it didn't work out and she has, she's mad about it, and she's not going to be mad about it if he didn't get her in some ways sexually. So did you see what I mean? So that actually makes his marketability higher. All right. Saying you know, he's toxic, Well, women will all say toxic dick's the best dick, right? Now, is that true? No. But to them, it's toxic because their emotions are all over the place, and their emotions wouldn't be all over the place if the guy was not good for them sexually. If he was dull sexually, nothing, whatever, then it wouldn't be good for them. You see what I mean? And so, yeah. And so what, but is it the toxic guy that they love? It's not even the toxic guy. It's like, it's not even the toxic guy. It's like the guy can be just fine. He's just not giving in to her wishes and needs. Maybe he's not wanting to be her boyfriend. Maybe he's not in the relationship, not wanting to, whatever. The guy might not actually be a toxic person any more than she is, but because she's attracted, her emotions are everywhere for him. And so then when she says that, other women see and get the signal, okay, he's actually somebody to be with. Do you know what I mean? Um, the bitter baby mama makes him high SMV. Kind of. Yeah, kind of. Now it depends, but yeah, it kind of does. Because it sends again that message that okay, someone mated with him, wanted to have babies with him, right? And thought he was something, and maybe it was her, maybe she could him around, right? So the dream is, Beauty and the Beast. Maybe he's the alpha that she needs to tame with her vagina. Okay. And it's always, the guy could be completely toxic too, right? Could be a bad person, but women will still be curious about that versus other traits and signals that he's not mateable, you know? Um, so what is this one here? I would suggest staying away from her. If she is going to believe gossip without verifying it herself, what else is she going to randomly believe? Yeah, and that's a good point. Um, And that is also a point. Yeah. Now, some toxic guys are going to judge her for her sexuality, though. But we'll just say that not being judged, I don't know. What do we mean by toxic, right? Is really what we mean. But I'd say it's more sexually open with the guy who's, let's say, a little bit more of a man whore. Yes. Because if he's a man whore, she can have, it implies that girls want to have sex with him, which is pre selection. And then it also implies that, okay, if I have sex with him, well, I might not be judged by it, but it depends. If the guy was going around talking smack about girls he's banged or whatever, that's a negative attraction signal, of course. Positive one, though, would be, yeah, he keeps discretion. That's why discretion is always a positive attraction signal, because she knows she can be open about her sexuality with that guy without that judgment. And so that's good. So, three other reasons why, though, women do reject you is, one is she doesn't want to be embarrassed. Okay. So it kind of goes along with the non-mateable thing. But maybe like her limbic system finds some attraction towards you, but for some reason the social circle has rejected you and the attraction to you isn't enough to overcome the social circle. And she doesn't want to be embarrassed about it. Maybe she just dumped a boyfriend and now she's talking to you the next week and she doesn't want to be embarrassed about people finding out that she's banging somebody else right away. Let's say if she met a stranger that was not in the social circle, that embarrassment wouldn't exist. So there's a number of reasons why being embarrassed would be a reason she would turn it down. Maybe you were dating somebody in the social circle and then, she doesn't want to be, that could be another. This is number 4, by the way, is she has loyalty to a friend in the social circle that you used to date. So those are 2 other reasons that where she could see you as mateable, but she just would be embarrassed to be banging this guy in the social circle for whatever reason. Whereas a guy outside of the circle, not so much. And if you're not high up in the sexual hierarchy in that circle, there would be embarrassment there, but there could be other reasons as well, right? Like I said, if she just got rid of a boyfriend or something like that, right? And so she might have sex with a stranger on a night out more likely than having sex with you in the social circle, even if you're more attractive, just out of sheer not wanting the embarrassment of dealing with that. We see that at work with work relationships, right? Girls will be like, I don't want to date somebody at work. Well, of course, right? They don't want the embarrassment and to deal with the social fallout from seeing a guy at work, especially if it goes bad. And that's the other part. If she thinks that getting into it with you, and then she's like, but if it doesn't work out and it gets toxic or bad, then now I'm, going to be embarrassed in front of all my friends, right? And so that's embarrassment could be a reason why she'll reject you. You mitigate that by that embarrassment through exactly what we just mentioned here with Rash, which is discretion. Okay. Not being judged, but it's not just a judgment, but it's more or less being discreet. So if she thinks that she could have a sexual relationship with you without you blabbing it around or without, the rest of the social circle finding out, that's pretty good, right? If you have high enough social status, she can do it without embarrassment. If perhaps she's, what was the other one? But yeah, so anyway, oh yeah, if she thinks that you are not going to be toxic towards her during a breakup, meaning if it doesn't work out, like these are why it's really important to have send those signals of like, hey, if it doesn't work out, like I'm cool with it, right? Like in other words, because it's like if she's no longer seeing you, are you going to be the clingy, needy guy, or are you going to be the guy who's going to be like, hey, cool, it didn't work out, no problem, right? And so how she sees you in, these social circles and how you interacts will greatly influence whether or not she would hook up with you. If she thinks she'll be embarrassed by a breakup or by the act of seeing you, she's going to be a lot more reluctant. So if you're not seen as mateable, or if you're not seen as high enough in the hierarchy of sexual hierarchy in that circle, that's a harder one to overcome. But embarrassment isn't as hard to overcome. Okay, so that one's an easier one to overcome, and that's really just how you treat her and how you handle yourself. Loyalty to another friend, number 4. Like, you used to date somebody else, and now she doesn't want to upset or piss her friend off, right? That one can be mitigated as well through game. Okay. And through, you know, distance and time too is a big one. If you just broke up with somebody 2 weeks ago, she's a lot less likely to hook up with you, unless of course she's in an inter competition with her friend. But if she was in an intersexual competition, then this would not be the problem. She would have already had sex with you. But if it's the competition piece, is if the loyalty to the friend outweighs her need to compete with her friend, then she's not going to want to have sex with you right away. Look like a bad chimpanzee in front of the social circle. And so that may just be a time issue, or it could be a game issue. And then number 5 that I have listed here, because there can be no other reasons as well other than the 5, is that basically she's already interested in someone else in your circle. So she sees you as mateable. She thinks you're kind of cute. She likes your attention, but she's really more interested in another dude. And so she sees another dude as better, and maybe she doesn't want to screw it up with that guy. So she's putting you on ice or in neutral. All right. And so those are some reasons why she would reject you. So now, getting towards the end of the video, let's look at what we can do about all these things. All right. And I mentioned some of these in the last one, but abundance and dating outside of your circle is the biggest thing you can do. And this is why I promote guys, even though relationships statistically start from social circles, friend circles, and work and stuff like that. That's statistically more likely for an actual relationship to develop. At least, the numbers are whatever. I recommend that you date outside of all that shit. Okay. I recommend that you cold approach women. You talk to women that aren't a part of your circles at all, because this allows you to break free from that social and sexual hierarchy that are in these circles. You may have made what I call a programming mistake. Okay. If you're in my mastermind group, you'll know what I mean. All right. But it's where you presented yourself unattractively in those circles. And maybe there's circles you've known or been friends with people for a long time. And now you just learned game, you just learned how to be more attractive, and they still see you as an unattractive person, even though you're not that person anymore. They're going to frame you as being the unattractive person. They're going to put you and place you lower in a sexual hierarchy than you should be in. And so the way you break free from that is just don't bother with these women in your circle. You date and see women outside of your circle. And in fact, if your sexual market value is as high as you think it is, when you improve your game and your ability to get women, not just like internet women that you lie about to your friends, but like, actually girls that you bring out with you, like the group where your friends are meeting up at a bar and you bring a hot girl out with you, whatever, because you've been out with her a couple of times, you guys are already banging, whatever. All right. That will increase. That's the quickest way to increase your sexual standing in that circle. You move up immediately into the sexual hierarchy when you bring a girl around that's cuter than or at least on par with the girls in that circle. Okay. So I'm not saying to date outside. Like, some guys will autistically look at what I just said and think that they need to go try to find a girl to go then bring around the social circle to make the friend zone girl that they're crushing on jealous. Eh, Don't. Okay. Yes, that could be an effect. But if you're having to contrive your human relationships to that degree, you're either completely miserable or on the line of maybe having a personality disorder yourself. It just, you're not enjoying your life. Like, Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, let her go and focus on the new girl. What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that means you have an attachment problem or a real serious problem. And you probably need to be in one of my groups or schedule a consult. But yeah, yeah, tell me about it, dude. Like, the level of covert contracts are just insane. All right. And yes, it's like I'm gonna contrive this whole dread game scenario. What a waste of time. Just date other women, bro. Like, it's not hard. You know what I mean? Do it because you want to date women and you want to date other women and you want to date women that are good, like, whatever. Just let the fucking crush go. Fuck. Okay. So don't do it as a strategy. Do it because you literally have abundance of options of women. That's why you do it. You bring the hot girl around because you're dating the hot girl. The secondary effects are your sexual marketability or perception of that goes up in those circles. Okay. Next thing is when a girl places you in that friend zone category or she's that disinterested category, you need to ignore her. All right. Do not, she has to earn your attention now. If you're okay with her, if you like her as a friend and you're good with that, you're going to date other women. And when she gets in that relationship with a guy that she sees as better than you, which would be any guy at that point, because she doesn't see you as the sexual option, you would be cool, like not just cool with, but you would literally feel good down to the core of yourself to say, to be happy for her, to support her relationship and all that stuff. If that's you, then you're not in the friend zone. You actually have a friend. And that's good. Good on you for being able to be friends with the opposite sex. Okay. But if you can't be in that place, then don't pay any more attention to her outside of any other acquaintance in that social circle. Remove that attention unless she is looking for it and earning it. Now, sometimes women are going to try to earn your attention because they like attention. And that's a major reason is she knows you used to like simp for her, and she likes it when guys simp for her, even though she complains about it to her friends at the same time. She likes that sexual attention, and you stopped giving her that attention. So then she starts trying to get your attention. But you got to know the difference between she just wants your attention again so you can continue to raise her self-esteem while she has sex with other guys she's more attracted to. You got to know the difference between that and, oh, you know what? I actually think this guy's attractive. And what'll tell you the difference between those two things is when the attention that she's seeking from you turns into a sexual relationship. Women don't bang guys that they don't want to bang, and women bang guys that they want to bang. I'll tell you, like 99 out of 100, a girl has sex with a guy when she wants to have sex with him. Rarely does the guy she wants to have sex with not have sex with her. Okay. Are there circumstances where that happens? Of course, like there's a lot of girls I've rejected in my day and still do all the time. You have to, or you can't keep a healthy relationship. But that's not their normal. Like that's not normal for them. Okay. And it's always not a really hard rejection anyway, because women aren't like going after it and then getting hard rejected like you guys get rejected. They're like putting it, they're putting themselves in the orbit and then nothing happens. And so then they pull back. That's how women get rejected. They don't fully get that the effects. You know what I'm saying? So in any sense, okay, how do you know the difference between when she's seeking your attention, whether it's sexual interest or not, is does it turn into sex eventually? It's assuming that you can lead it there, right? And that's where game comes in. That's where your abilities come in. But if you have some abilities to lead this interaction of attention into sex, and she is blocking it from going to sex, then congratulations. I say going to sex. It's not like, hey, how was your day? Fine. And then you start banging on her desk at work. I don't mean that. I mean, like, she seeks your attention. It leads to more conversations, maybe some text exchanges, maybe going out at some point, maybe ending up in the bedroom, right? Whatever. Okay. It's an escalation into the bedroom. And she's either participating in that escalation or she's not. If she's not participating, guess what? She wants your attention and she wants it for free. And she's not interested in having sex with you. It's the same place you were at before. So instead of getting butthurt about it, just withdraw your attention. Do you know what I mean? And so there's more specific game things to deal with on that. I deal with that into my groups and behind a paywall, but maybe we'll cover that more specifically in a video. Okay, different one. But that's what it is. Okay, so you don't. She has to earn your attention. If she doesn't, is not interested in earning your attention, she won't be attracted to you. Okay, so that's the thing. All right. Does that mean you ignore her and act cold and aloof all the time? No, it just means you treat her like anybody else in that friend circle. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Like you guys are all out, getting drinks or whatever, and she's another girl that's friend with a girlfriend that shows up and you're friends with guys there, that sort of thing. It's just like a normal interaction, dudes, whatever. There's people you talk to more, people you talk to less, but you keep it regularly, like just a normal interaction, no additional attention and no, lack of it, unless she is trying to get that from you. Now, let's say she is trying to get that from you. Let's escalate. So how do we escalate? It starts off with compliance. All right. So let's go over steps again. We have an abundance of women. You're dating women outside your social circles. Okay. You've maybe dated women in your social circles. It's fine. All of these things, when you date good women, good looking women, it increases your perception of value. All right. So that's number one. Number two is when you start to, if she's paying attention to you, you're paying attention to her. If it escalates into a sexual exchange, then you're good, right? But if it doesn't, or if you've been, a lot of you guys coming to this video have been like, I have had this crush on this girl for so long situation. Okay, what's happened is you've giving her a bunch of sexual attention, and she's given you the expression, the expression that she doesn't want your sexual attention, right? That goes nowhere, either because you can't escalate it or because she, whatever, just isn't going anywhere. If that's the case, you need to remove your attention until she is seeking that attention from you and put your attention in other women. So we got steps 1 and 2, right? Because without steps 1 and 2, none of the rest of what I'm going to say is going to work for shit. All right. So step 3, compliance. This is when she gives you that attention, when she's giving she's giving you attention, or she's trying to earn your attention. What you need to do now is you need to get her to comply to the next levels of escalation. So perhaps it's like she's getting your attention at that meeting or on a side, or she's asking about you or whatever. Maybe like it's a quick exchange. You maybe cut her off, say, hey, that's more of a conversation we should have. Like we'll have a bigger conversation about that. Or I'll come by later, come by my desk later. We'll talk more about that. Get her compliance. Let's say it's a work situation. I'm not recommending you guys hook up with women at work, but that's a kind of like, use at your own risk. You know what I mean? I'm not saying don't either, right? At your own risk, because it happens a lot. But anyway, let's say, she's engaging you. I haven't talked to you in a while, whatever. She's getting your attention. But I haven't talked to you in a while either. You know what? I gotta run. Come by my desk later or shoot me a text later. You see, get her to comply. Or right. In other words, she shoots you that text. You shoot her a text, exchange a couple memes, a couple laughs, whatever, right? Hey, want to grab a drink after work? Yeah, let's do that. It's been a while. Compliance. You see, you're moving to the next step and she's agreeing to the next things. If I say, hey, come by my desk later, I'm going to talk to these guys real quick. Or in the bar even, hey, grab a drink with me. And you take her aside, you grab a drink, and she comes with you. You have that conversation. You're allowed to move into more seductive tone of voice and kind of changing the framework of the dynamic between you two. And she's participating. That's compliance. Remember, like what I said, if she seeks and she wants to earn your attention, She wants to have sex with you. She will try to earn your attention. And when you comply and give her that attention, then you all are going to try to escalate. She will comply with that escalation if she wants to have sex with you. She doesn't want to have sex with you and just wanted your attention for free. She won't comply with the escalation. She'll block it. Come by my desk later. Well, maybe. And then she doesn't do it. No compliance, no interest. She just wanted your attention. You see? Text me later. And then you text her, yo, what's up? Whatever. And she's like, and doesn't say anything. Lets it go. There's no compliance. She just wanted your attention. Maybe there is the text exchange, but then you're like, hey, go, let's grab a drink after work. And again, using the work scenario. But she's like, I'm busy. And then she cock blocks going out and meeting with her. She just wanted your attention. You see what I'm saying? A girl who wants to sleep with you and sees you as the attractive option, provided, and this is where your game, okay, matters because you show up being that attractive guy and you have those options, and she sees you in a sexual role in the sexual hierarchy, all those things in play. She's going to want to explore that option, which means she'll comply to all these next steps. When she starts cock blocking those steps, what do? You remove your attention again. And then she has to earn it. And she has to earn that attention and comply to the next steps, or she doesn't keep getting your attention for free. It's a pretty simple concept, but this is where you guys need to not have unhealthy attachments and emotions for women that don't like you, and start looking at how people treat you and where you're going to invest your valuable time and energy. And you're not going to invest your valuable time and energy into women who don't value that time and energy. It's kind of a simple concept. It's really just seeing yourself as a worthwhile human being, all right? And setting standards and boundaries for yourself. And so now next step, what about that compliance? So part of that compliance is isolation, okay? So in other words, you're with a group of friends. Okay, there's some back and forth banter, jokes, whatever between you two. You're sharing your little moments. And then you're like, grab a drink with me. And she's like, no, I don't want to, or I'm going to go talk to Becky or whatever. She's not complying, number one, and she's not isolating with you. The idea of, let's say we're all at a group thing and I say, hey, I'm going to go outside for a minute, or I'm going to go to my car for a minute. Come with me. She's not allowing herself to be isolated with you. Again, she's not complying. And and a lot of times when women stop complying from the social circle perspective is with that isolation. That's where the boundary will happen. You'll be like, well, come over later. And she'll be like, no. Right. Yeah. She doesn't want to be alone with you, which means she doesn't want a sexual framework with you. She just wants your attention. You know what I mean? And so she wants your attention or whatever transactional things you have to offer, but she doesn't want your sexual attention. If a woman wants your sexual attention, she will allow herself to be isolated with you. Now, keep in mind, though, that some women will allow herself to be isolated with you because she trusts you and still doesn't want your sexual attention. So keep that in mind. All right. Don't run into, but you can't, you walked with me to my car. What do you mean you don't want to, make out with me? Right. Like, and freak out, just because she isolates with you, that doesn't necessarily mean she's complying to sex. It just means that she has that enough trust in you. Okay. And she maybe is open to a sexual exchange if she's complying and isolating. Now, if you are, we got to back up some things because again, this can get nuanced. If you're trying to friend zone your way into her vagina, this is where the friend zone guys really screw themselves and screw up the girl, quite frankly, and are really not nice guys. Is the guy will try to get her to trust him so that she could be isolated with him, thinking he's a good guy who wouldn't try to cross sexual boundaries. Because in her mind, I've stated that we're friends and I don't want to cross sexual boundaries and blah, this and that and the other. And then he isolates and he thinks that's the green light now for him to try something sexually. And then it's that uncomfortable situation where she's pushing him off and saying, I don't want this. And then the guy will have the nerve to get angry about it. You know what I mean? A lot of times. I mean, so some of you guys suck and are not. You wonder why you're not getting the girl. You're because you're terrible. You're not even good for her. You're not even a good friend. You're not even a good human being to her. Why? I mean, if you're trying to isolate her under the guise of a friendship and making her think that she can trust you and then trying to make the sexual moves on her, you're a jackass, right? Like that doesn't make you a good guy at all. It's amazing to me how these guys think they're the good guys. And this is why I tell women never trust a nice guy because there's a reason he's being a nice guy. Okay. And that's just the reality of it. So, anyways, at any rate, okay. Um, you know, if you're not getting compliance through being the nice guy and through friendship fraud, and you're getting compliance through a sexual framework, meaning you're treating her like someone you're dating and she is complying and understanding with that, okay, and she's participating in it. Now the isolation has a sexual framework, all right. And again, in more of a closed group where we can get into details, and in my course material for the mastermind group we talk about sexual framework versus other frameworks. And so at any rate, you get her isolated, and then from that isolation there's seduction. What happens with seduction? It's taking your physical closeness to the next level, and your verbal seduction and your physical closeness, right? You take that stuff to a sexual framework, right? And that's where your seduction skills come in. Your seduction skills happen because and you're seducing the entire time, but through compliance, then isolation from the group, where it's just you and her. Now you guys can be physically close. And now you're moving into being more physically close with her through touch and your voice. Right. And so that's where it goes. And so that's how you move her, a girl, from, hey, I'm a friend in the friend group, to we're sexual partners now, or at least have a sexual framework, or she's your girlfriend now, or whatever the goal is, right? We're dating now. Okay. Start off by being the sexual marketable guy and high up in the sexual hierarchy. And if you're not high up in there, then you date other women outside the circle. And that adds, that's sort of just where you need to put your attention anyway. Number one. And number two, that abundance, okay, of both in your mindset as well as then the women you're getting will bring up your sexual value and bring up the perceptions of you. You don't pay attention to women who that you're sexually interested, who have no sexual interest in you. Okay. They have to earn your attention. And when they do, then you get compliance. In other words, they should get her compliance and participation into a sexual framework by going the next steps. The next step could be that phone number exchange, or that, could be that talk where it's just you and her, or you're standing next to each other, close to each other, spending more time interacting with each other. And that grows into social media exchange, phone number exchange, whatever. That goes into maybe some conversations over DM or over text. That goes into, just you and her hanging out, her coming over, you coming over. You get what I'm saying. So you're moving it along, okay, into a sexual framework. She's complying with that, participating. That goes from the group dynamic to an isolated dynamic, you and her. So there's an isolation, and you're seducing the entire time, but the seduction escalates into a physical seduction, particularly when you're isolating. She is, of course, participating and happy with that. It ends in sex. That's how it happens. Okay. You move it towards there. When she blocks that progression in any way, you don't continue to simp and continue to go for her. You withdraw that effort. Okay. Sending the message that you're high value and you're not going to continue putting effort into someone who is not sexually interested, and that her opinions of your sexual market value hold no bearing on your opinions of your own value, because you're better than she is. At least that's what you're sending message wise. Okay. I say better, I mean in terms of sexual market value. You have other options of other women and you don't need her validation. These are all things that will make you more attractive. So you'll be more attractive by showing up with this abundance and not giving away the attention. And then the rest is just moving it along. Okay. And then when if she does that block because she just decided for whatever reason, I like the attention and I don't want to take it any further for whatever reason that is, just you just walk, you don't physically walk away from it necessarily, but she's in your friend circle or social circle, but you break free from that and you let her go until she's willing to participate once again in that escalation. And that's how it's done. Okay, that's what you do, and that's how you do it without looking like a creep or a weirdo. All right. That's how you do it without being that guy who's simping for some girl, where you have a bunch of emotions for a girl that are completely unwarranted, and where you're being the friend zone guy. And again, as I went over in that short video, as I explained in this video, being the friend zone guy is not being the good guy at all. You're not a good guy when you're that guy. Okay. You're not good for her, for yourself, or for anybody. All right. So I'm going to have to cover this one in another video. 55, a 22-year-old's giving you a signal, suggest an escalation without seeming like the creepy old guy. It's going to be a lot more because we're already an hour and 15. So it's going to have to save that one. All right. But it's pretty easy. And guys do it all the time. And guys in my mastermind group are killing it with that. Guys who are, I have guys of all ages in that group, but I got older as well as younger. So let's see. Okay, so if women are afraid of you, it's not because, so no, you are not self-aware here. Sorry, David, you're just not. Because women being afraid of you, that's a feeling they're getting. A woman could be told that you're a serial killer and she should be afraid of you. And then your behavior towards her creates an emotional response where she's not fearful. Guess what? She's not afraid of you now. Okay. You are lacking the social calibration with these women in your circles. That is why they're afraid of you. It's not because somebody else told them something. Now, someone else may have told them something, but let's say that's happened, but your behavior is what's going to verify what they were told or unverify that, right? It verify that it's not true. And so something about your behavior with these women and your calibration with how you interact with them is making you come across as the creepy guy. Sorry, bro. I don't mean to, be the bearer of bad news, but it is about you. Okay. So you're saying you've done nothing. No, you're doing something. You're clearly doing something. Now, let's say that or it's a lack of things that you're doing, maybe, but there's a reason they're getting those signals. Now, let's say that you are killing it with women. Women find you attractive all over the place in all these other social circles, but it just so happens in a particular circle that women in that group think you're creepy. That could be those women, right? That could be that they're jackasses and that they see you in a certain way. It just sort of developed that way. That could happen. You could be just the wrong circle of women, in which case, back to my previous advice, is don't waste your time and attention on them. If it's the women in that circle, then why waste time and attention on them? Put your attention elsewhere, right? But if it's not the case where you're slaying it with women, and then I say that for a reason, like I'm not saying neutral. I mean, well, other women don't have problems with me. Well, you don't know that. Okay. They might or they might not. They're just not thinking hard about it. But if you are in other circles and places and women just find you really attractive and they like you and, they have this comfort with you, and then just this one circle, they don't have comfort with you. that tells you it's probably a circle. But if you're kind of neutral everywhere else, but this circle has bad thoughts about you, or if this is a repeated thing where it so happens that every now and then people are finding you, they're finding themselves creeped out by you, then that's a you thing, man. This is something you're doing. And in my mastermind group, when we did our we did our meetup. We did a meetup in September. I brought in role players. I brought in two female role players to do things like approaching women, talking to women, different scenarios. And guys could see, like, I know in a role play, okay, this is something like I'm getting this reaction from this role player, but this reaction is a reaction I get from women all the time. And other guys in the group could go, dude, you're doing this A, B, and C, and that's unattractive. Or when you said this, that wasn't good, but when you did these other things, it was good. So you're not necessarily aware of what you're doing. You need to get kind of a secondary view, which is why I have a group. You can click the link, dude, and see if it's an option for you. Or get some feedback from friends that are trustworthy, but that can be tough. But you need to be able to get some feedback, because getting feedback is the strongest way to figure out if you're socially calibrated or not. So there's probably a problem with your calibration here socially. You know what I mean? Um, and I'm seeing this. So half the women I meet are very into me, but the other half are repulsed by me. I've never been able to figure this out. Yeah, so that's a lack of awareness on your part why you can't figure this out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you, bro. It's just that being self-aware is the hardest thing for any of us. And so, there's something you're doing, probably, if it's consistent stuff, right? There's a consistency in some way you're showing up with women that are repulsed by you. And then there's a consistency with some way you're showing up where the other women like you. And you have to be able to, and that's what I meant about, like, my bringing up the role player thing was so valuable, because guys could see, well, wait a second, the role player, who is clearly just in a role and acting for the purpose of the exercise, is getting this reaction and reacting the same way that women have actually reacted to me. It's like, oh, what happens is you see that it really is you. And that if you change, and this is empowering, because if you change your behavior and change the things that you're doing that are causing the women to be repulsed, then you have control over it. Again, one off here or there might be someone that just doesn't like you, and that's okay. But if it's consistent, you know what I mean, across the board, where strangers across the board just aren't seeing you in that attractive light, that's something that you're doing that you may not see. You haven't been able to figure it out. Well, that's when you need to get unbiased feedback, dude, to try to figure it out. You know what I mean? So, like I said, see if you can schedule something with me, or get in one of my groups, or next time I roll a mini course out, like a shorter course, if it's, if you're not, or even just get in the forum or something that I have, get into something I got going on and get some feedback, bro, because that's what you need here. There's no magic answer I can give you, because there's something you're doing, and without talking to you more about these interactions or seeing more about them, it's going to be hard to tell. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not a general thing. This is something specific to you. um what do we got here? I give off that vibe because it's just my face and I don't smile. It isn't until I talk to them I break the barrier. I always had this problem. Okay, so I talk about this in the programming section of my course material for the mastermind group. It's the idea of giving off alpha signals, but also friend signals at the same time. I don't mean friend zone signals, but I mean peaceful signals. Okay, so there's a way, if I come up to somebody, and I've talked about this a little bit in other videos, but if I'm a dominant force and I have a dominant, body language, and it's coupled with non-smiling dead eyes and a bunch of other things going on, I'm going to send the wrong signal socially. And so I want to change that, you know? And oh yeah, bro, YouTube fucking hates me. They've shadow banned me in every way possible because I give good information and they don't want good information. They want divisive information because, you know, what's good for the economy, what's good for big corporations is men and women fighting and shitting all over each other. That definitely gives you more consumerism and more views and more advertising opportunities. So yeah, I've been shadow banned for reasonable information and not jumping on some sort of bandwagon, you know, like if I was a male feminist or some other, I don't know, a vegan environmentalist or something, then it would work. I will, yeah, well, I'll run into the same problem, which is how many people are actually on Rumble. You know what I mean? Probably not that many, right? I'll get more people watching me over here, but I am going to put my stuff on Rumble though. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but that is going to happen because, you know, it sucks here, but it is what it is. You just deal with it. Um, so anyways, what was I saying there? But, yeah, so here's an example. Like, so I gave this of using a slight eyebrow raise, a head tilt, and a slight smile will break up your silhouette and not make you be turned off. So you want some real actionable advice right now, something real quick you can do. If you're somebody who's putting people off just because of your posture and your face and you got resting bitch face and you're not smiling, just try to do this. Instead of looking like this, let me see if I can do it now with my camera. Instead of looking dead eye at people and shit and then having this framework, try this. Just tilt your head a little bit, smile. When you see somebody just tilt, just, it's a natural thing you do. Your eyebrows come up a little bit. So when you see somebody that you want to talk to, one of those. If you see a dude, head nod. Okay, the head nod. But what's up? It's not just a bro thing. It's an alpha thing. It's a body language thing. In theory, you're exposing your neck as if to show that you're not afraid, but that you're also sending a peaceful signal, right? And so, guys, what's going on? Okay, you just whatever, little nod upward, little one of those. Girl you want to talk to soften my appearance because I can be very intimidating to a stranger, especially who doesn't know me. Even to a non-stranger, I can be intimidating. So I'll just that's it. It's a little bit of a smile, a little slight head tilt, and a little eyebrow. Okay, that's it. Practice it. What's up? Versus hi, I'm gonna kill you. Right? It's like different, right? And so just practice that. And that's going to help you out. Something small like that. In the course material for my mastermind group, we hone in on body language. So it's we get into body language pretty and recognizing it, and also you know recognizing it, what body language to use is also being able to give off the body language. And see, these are skill sets. And this is what I mean about social calibration and skill sets. For a guy who's never thought, just to tilt his head a little bit, slight smile. You don't need to be like a beta dude or something, with your smile. You don't need to be hey, like just smile a little bit. See the difference between this and this. Super different. It's this much of a difference. But just by doing this, that's a peaceful signal. Okay. Slight tilt of my head, which I have going right now, builds trust. Do you notice how you guys trust me when I talk? You should, at least. I hope so. There is a genuine sincerity with the way I approach things, but I don't have to think about it because I'm just being sincere. But when I'm being sincere, I naturally, looking this way at a camera, my head naturally tilts. I enjoy what I'm doing and having these conversations with you. I naturally have a slight smile. And if I'm reading a comment, you won't see that eyebrow thing as much because it's on a screen. But, if I see somebody I know or I see a comment, you'll see my eyebrows just kind of look up a little bit. And this is a lot more peaceful and less intimidating, but more sincere, more authentic, and it's less divisive, less intimidating, less protected versus if I were to talk to you, I don't know if I can do it with my shit the way it's felt, but if I were to just talk to you like this, So today we're going to talk about not being in the friend zone. You know, if I was like that, it would be like, holy shit, this guy's really intense, and it would seem less sincere. And if I was, there's a lot, watch body language of these content creators. There's a lot of ways that they come off and because they're actually not being sincere and their body language shows it's a dead giveaway. But I can see it because I'm really good at this shit, but whatever. Um, anyway, yeah. So we'll end off on this one here. I'm shadow banned because I piss off the women on YouTube and some of the guys too who don't want to work on themselves because I give up the game. Yes, I do. So if you're on here and you found me, despite all of the reasons for people to send you in a different direction, good job. I just ask that you keep supporting the channel, of course, because I'm going to fight through all of the bullshit and the shadow banning and the nonsense. I don't believe what even some people are telling me who want to act like, oh, it's this and it's that. I'm doing the things that people say to do in order to get more exposure, and it's still slow going. So I know what it is. It's not what these assholes that I work with, some of them want to say, okay, because I'm doing the same things. I could hire the same fucking people that they might hire to do different things on my channel, and it would be the same problem. So I don't care. All right. It is. I care. I'm not gonna lie. I actually do. To say I don't care is lie. So I don't mean to say I don't care because it does bother me. Okay. But it's not going to, when I say I don't care, it means it's not going to stop me from doing what I'm going to do, which is to help you guys out, you know? And so I want you guys to get the most help that you can. The little commercial I put in the beginning, I am taking some enrollment for my mastermind group, which is a year-long program. I don't think you guys realize how impacting that year would be for you if you were to do it. Some of you, but it's like if you actually want to solve these problems and do not just solve problems, but do really well. Okay, so you don't have to think about it, don't have to worry about it, and you just have everything that you could ever want with your relationships and with your dating life. If you want that, I mean, it's not an overpromise. I mean, you can have that. That's the mastermind group is partially about that, and also partially about sorting out your mindset and your identity and seeing yourself as a best version of you and moving your mindset towards that. And so your limiting beliefs, your insecurities, the things that are in your mind that pollute your ability to think clearly and that, you know, screw up your ability to see yourself of value and to accomplish things that you need, that you want to accomplish, the sabotage that you may be doing to yourself, you know, those are the things that, we can work on and work through within the group. So links in the description, and I hope to see some of you there. All right. Thanks for participating today, guys. Take care.